All right, wanted to make a video of the training project homework for day 2. So I'm going to follow the list of instructions here. So just to make it easy in case that helps you. So enter the config user. Obviously I've opened render for the training project. The default password is the top row of dots from left to right. Now enter setup. On the right side, you see the role settings. Change from 1 community check to 2. Uncheck the Note Translate and Transcribe features. The Note Translate is valuable when your translation teams don't share a language with the consultant, and you need someone to translate between their language, whatever they might use, say Indonesian, and the consultant, as specified down here is English. All right, and transcribe again is transcription of the back translation. We're just going to turn that off for our purposes of training. Notice here, though, that that consultant language has to be specified. So make sure you get this right when you're training a configure person to set up his project. Make sure you set this correctly. All right, with that, we can hit, let me hide this, finished. All right, exit the setup role and enter the user role. There you go. Study and understand each user. So if you click a user, you'll see its definition over here on the right. The name at the top, primary reference is listed, interface language, the roles they're assigned, and the device to which they are assigned. All right, so that's what it means by understand. So look at the two. Team 1 and Team 2 have the same role assignments, same everything except the name. Back translate, his roles are the breath pause and retell back translate. We're going to ignore scribe and note translate, and then the consultant. Just he's got the consultant role and so forth. All right, so with that, step 7, delete them all. Notice configure you cannot delete. So we'll do the others. Delete, 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 delete. All right. Step 8, add. Oops, let's get rid of the back translator. Let's add them back in. All right, so for exegete, and on a typical project, there's 2 of them. So you'd say exegete 1 and 2. Interface language, let's just keep it English for now. You could choose something else if you prefer among that list, but just to help us move along here, those are my choices. So the exegete, we're going to give him the observe role. With the observe role, he can see the status of all the sets, and he can actually access the audio of all the reference audio Bibles for each set, plus any drafts that the translation team has made, plus any notes that have been made by the team or the reviewing team or the consultant. So I'm going to hit submit, and all right, so it says that it requires a password. Can you figure out the code for the top row of dots? So render is showing me the grid of 12 options, and the top row is here at the top. What's the code for that? That's correct. 00, 01, 02, 03. That's the top row, and you can make it anything you want, but I like the default for purposes like this. All right, so we have our exegete. Now let's add T1. We can call it anything we want. Translate team 1, but just for speed, I'm going to call it T1. English, this device, or the same one, and NIV. All right, so the translate teams get all the translation activity roles: translate, peer review, community check setup, community check 1, and community check 2. Notice that you have to choose both of those. If you've chosen more than one community check, you have to specify both of them or all 3 of them as a role. Okay, so I've got a question in here, thought-provoking question. Why might we separate who does the community check setup for a given set and who does the actual community checks? So consider that, and we'll see if we can answer it tomorrow. So with that, I'm going to hit submit, and let's add T2. Same choices. And the same roles, just like we saw earlier. And submit. All right. Now let's add the BT, back translator. So we'll shorten that to BT. English, this device, NIV. All right, so we're going to give him the back translates. So let's start with breath pause. Oh, look at this. It's saying, all right, translate from, all right, what language is this project translating into? All right, the answer is French. That's just the way it was designed. And so you'll choose the project's language here, whatever the target language is for which this project was made, and then translating into hopefully the consultant's language. That's what you want to put here. We can do a double back translation, but I won't mess with that here. So this should match the consultant's language. Same thing for retail. Whatever the target language is to the consultant's language. All right, and so the back translator is defined. And finally, consultant. All right, give him consultant check, but let's also give him observe. That gives him the power, again, to see the status of all the sets, wherever they might be, and to have access to all the audio connected with a set. If I hit submit, ta-da, I'm asked for a password. So these are the two roles that require passwords, consultant and observe. So we'll give the same one, 00, 01, 02, 03. Ta-da! All right, we have all our users. That's step 8. Step 9 is assign sets. So this is where I say you might want to consult the handbook, but I'll show you how to do it here. All right, so let's start with the exegete. Oh, wait a minute, can't assign sets. So anybody having the observe role, there's no need to assign sets. T1, let's add sets. According to my instructions, we'll give them set 9 to translate and set 6 to peer review. So translate, add sets, find set 6, assign, voila, done. Now for peer review, right, they're going to peer review the other team's sets. So if I add sets here, notice, oops, I think I got it wrong, didn't I? Oh, that's right. I'm going to go back. T1 is translating not set 6. So let's unassign that and add set 9. I was just testing you. Okay, set 9 is assigned. There we go. Close. Now set 6 for peer review, right? Now set 6 will show up. So Render's smart enough to know that if you draft a set, you're not supposed to peer review it. So it won't even show up in the list of available sets for peer review. All right, so now I've got to go to these other roles, adding set 9 for T1. Notice that your icons here, translate, peer review, community check setup, community check 1, and community check 2, those all correspond to the boxes I checked for the roles for this user, right? That's why these icons are showing up like this. And again, notice the colors. Yellow means this is work you must do. Blue is optional. I could go back to users. So Render knows that there's still sets to be assigned to each of these roles, and that's why they're yellow. Only when all sets are assigned completely will these icons turn, I guess, blue. All right, so I'm going to go back to users. T1's done. Let's assign sets for T2. T2 is going to translate set 6. He's going to peer review what set? Ta-da, set 9. Notice set 6 doesn't even show up, but 9 does. Okay, and then community check setup. Again, you have to manually assign the set that's being translated to all of these roles. So set 6 for T2. Add set 6. And to the last one. Set 6. All right, so I think we're done. We've got all of our assignments for T1 and T2 for this homework assignment. Now the back translator. Okay, we've turned on both styles, so we have to assign sets to both styles. All right, another trick question. Which sets in the scope should be assigned to the back translator? That's right, all of them. Yep, the back translator's got to back translate every set. So when you're helping a config set up his project, that's important to communicate to him. He may not need to assign them all right there at the beginning, but he could. It just takes a lot of time, right? 60 sets in a scope. So maybe not the right time to assign them all. All right, so I've assigned them to the first style, set 6 and 9 now to the second style. Now you may recall the difference of these two styles of back translation. Retell is just that, retelling the translation as the back translator hears it in the target language, retelling it into the consultant's language as best he can. Now remember, the lesson plan currently instructs you to do this in a very exhaustive, thorough manner, having them listen over and over and over and over again to the passage until he can back translate it into the consultant's language perfectly. We no longer do that, but that's still the way it's listed in the lesson plan. So ignore that and have them listen to the passage maybe 3 times, maybe 4, and then just do their best, translating that into the consultant's language in one go and being done with it. So they don't have to get it perfect. Part of the reason is that consultants don't find this very valuable, and it just takes a whole lot of time for the back translator to get that done. All right, breath pause. Render's smart enough to know where the person who recorded the translation takes a breath, and it will chop up the draft, that the translation audio file, into pieces where it notices there is a breath being taken. Then the back translator gets one piece at a time, and we train them to back translate as literally as possible, word for word as possible. The idea is that gives the consultant a more clear window into what's in the translation, the target language translation, and that helps him much more for determining accuracy. All right, enough of that. So we've finished the VT. Final one is consultant. Let's assign sets. Actually, the same question. What sets should be assigned to the consultant? All of them. So we'll just do 6 and 9 for now. All right. So we're done assigning these 2 sets. And so we're ready for translating set 9 as team 1. And that's what we're going to do eventually, hopefully tomorrow. So final step 10, is log out. Go to your file manager, C drive. All right, and so you've got C render. That's where this current project, training project, and its condition lives. Copy. So with that folder highlighted like this, I copy by control. I'm hitting the control key, pressing that down, and then tap the C key. That's copy. Instantly do the same with control and then V as in Victor for paste. And it creates this, the render dash copy. You see that at the bottom of my screen. So the instructions say, all right, rename that as render training project ready for translate. So what this is doing is simply preserving this condition of the training project where we're set up to start drafting set 9 in team 1. The idea is that after we change the project by translating, peer review, and modifying everything by playing with the project, if we want to start over at set 9 at the beginning, we've got that condition of the training project preserved right here. So at that point, we can copy this version of the project and then rename that copy to be just C render. And then when render opens up, it's the training project in that condition. We only do this for trainers learning how to use render. So this is not something you would ever train a config or a project member to do. This is strictly for you trainers to help you get a lot of experience with running render in all of its different conditions. Okay, we're done. Thanks.